Hi, I'm Lisa Jackson with Carpe Diem Wellness, and I'm going to share with you, this is Thanksgiving Day, a quick, easy recipe for Thanksgiving. Not everybody likes pumpkin pie, so I'm making my version of Kentucky Derby pie. And if you have one of my recipe books, I'm realizing there's an error in my recipe. The crust is similar to the others, which is 2.5 cups of nuts and um, some soaked dates, which I'm going to throw in. And this recipe, I said macadamia or Brazil nuts. They're really expensive and they're sometimes hard to find. Like today, I realized I didn't have what I needed. And Thanksgiving Day, I went to Whole Foods. And so we are going to have to improvise. Recipes are made to be broken. So that's a great thing about learning to cook yourself is you can substitute if you don't have it, or maybe you like something else, or maybe you even have an allergy. So we'll need to. So we're going to start with the crust, and we're going to do 2.5 cups of nuts. And I'm going to put in 1.5 cups of macadamia. And then it's a pecan pie, so I'm going to add another cup of pecans. And then just a pinch of sea salt. And a cup of dates. And that makes we're going to make it into like a dough, like a crust. And then we'll pat that into the pie plate. And that's the basis of a easy raw vegan pie. I'm going to stop this for a minute while I mix it. You want to pulse it. You don't want to make nut butter, but you want it to be like a dough. So that's the consistency that we're looking for. And then we're just going to throw it in the pie plate and pat the crust into it. Wash my hands very well. Sometimes I will wear gloves. Those are a little too thick. And we're gonna just press it into the pie plate to make the crust. So cooking can be an adventure, especially if you're cooking at my house. As I said, recipes are made to be broken because I'm never that organized to plan ahead. It's a skill to plan, shop, and cook. So it's Thursday, Thanksgiving morning, and I realized that it calls for coconut. And I don't have and when I made this, I used a young Thai coconut where you open it up and it has this really soft, sweet meat inside. Well, I don't have that. So I call the stores. They said they have a coconut at Whole Foods. So I run to Whole Foods. But what they have is not the young Thai coconut, even though it said young Thai, but it's a regular coconut. It's kind of hard. So the question is this going to give me the same texture? Do I want to use this, or do I just want to open a can of coconut milk and take the meat out? Let's play and see. Let's put the other ingredients in first, and then we'll decide. So we're going to start with a cup of pecans and 2 cups of dates, which I did soak ahead of time. If you don't have time to soak because you didn't plan ahead enough time, heat hot water and put it in for 15 minutes. That's Lisa's shortcut. And I didn't drain it that well. There's still a little water in here. Okay, so I'm pouring that into my food processor. I had a food processor for 30 years. In fact, I think I sold it at a garage sale. And it wasn't until I started to learn how to really cook that I realized what a great invention this is and needing one. Okay, so we're gonna do like 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt. Again, Salt brings out the sweetness. If you use a Himalayan salt, you get all the vitamins and minerals. It's not just sodium chloride. So it's kind of a myth that people need to be on a low salt or no salt diet. We need salt to for our adrenal glands. And if you are burning the candle at both ends and you're stressed, you need salt. We're going to do 1.5 ounces of moss, seaweed, which is not something common in kitchens, but it is a thickener, and it's also full of some healthy minerals. So 1.5 ounces, I happen to have a scale, so I was able to measure it out. If not, it's about a tablespoon. And that is going to thicken it a little bit. And the more I think about this, the more I think I might use coconut can instead of the meat. Then we have 2 teaspoons of vanilla bourbon extract. And of course, I don't have that. Nor did they have it at the store. And that is very, very expensive. It was all out of stock, and I noticed it was like $19. I'm going to use regular vanilla extract, and if I want, I could put a shot of bourbon in, and I think that's what I'm going to do. Again, I think the sign of a good cook is to play, have fun, experiment, and don't drink the bourbon. 1/2 cup of raw cacao. That's the chocolate. And there we go. 1/2 cup of raw cacao. This is unprocessed, raw. Lots of antioxidants, very nutritious for you, and 1/4 cup of maca powder. Maca, that's a lot of maca actually. It has a kind of a caramel vanilla smell, and it's an adaptogen. I'm gonna switch this to about 1/8 because I think that's a lot of maca. Yeah, I think 1/8 cup is gonna be enough. I'm definitely gonna redo this recipe. I think I'm gonna make it easier. And I think my executive decision is we're gonna go for the can. It's easy. If you have a young Thai coconut, it'll be a little more nutritious. You don't have to worry about the BPA lining, toxins in the lining of a can. I try and avoid cans whenever I can. So I'm just gonna put the meaty part in here, and it'll make it creamy, it'll give it healthy fat. And I think I'm gonna leave the water. You know, often when you open a can, either the water, the meat is on the top or the bottom. So in about 1/2 of the can is more the meat. You know, I did buy the other coconut, so if we need it, we'll throw that in with water, and then we're just gonna process it. Okay, so I started to process it, and it's still a little thick. So I'm gonna add some of the water of the coconut. So we wanted to get it a nice creamy texture for a nice pie filling. And I'm happy with my decision to go with the canned instead of, and you know, it's a lot of hassle to cut open a young Thai. So I've processed it to this really nice creamy filling. And I'm thinking it's not as sweet as I kind of like it to for the holidays. So I'm gonna put a little molasses in there. I think molasses is, you know, it's a good source of magnesium and a little iron, and maybe a tablespoon or 2. Spread it around and see how that tastes. I think, you know, none of my recipes are unique. I just take recipes and I think, how can I improve them? How can I make them healthier? upscale it a little bit, and easier because I'm really quite lazy. I'm a lazy cook. I'm kind of a sloppy cook. I don't want to spend all that my day in the kitchen. I want to get to the party. So let's see about that last touch. Okay, so let me have another little taste. I added actually a little more bourbon and a little molasses. Mm, that is delicious. Wow. Okay, and we just pour the filling into the pie crust. Can you see? Here we go. So here is the final pie. Simple, easy. It looks kind of plain for me. So I thought, what am I going to do with this coconut? I've got a little microplane. Let's just decorate it with the shaved coconut. Some people love coconuts, some don't. So I'm not going to do a lot. Just something to make it look a little more maybe festive and pretty. This is not my forte. I'm not the decorating one in the family. My twin sister is really good at making everything look pretty. I'm really primarily interested in taste and how nutrient dense is it? How delicious is it? How is it? How healthy is it? And how am I gonna feel after eating it? If you feel like you need to take a nap after you've eaten food, then you've probably eaten too many carbs for your unique body, or empty carbs, which means empty calories. If you have more energy after food, that's what food is supposed to be. It's fuel, it's energy. So may you have a happy, healthy holiday season, and maybe we can upscale the diet with a homemade Kentucky Derby pie, no matter where you are and what you're celebrating it. This is Thanksgiving Day in the US, and I want to say thank you very much. I'm very grateful for you and your interest in optimal health and well-being. Happy Thanksgiving, and Carpe Diem. Seize the day. We only have this day and this time to live life to its